catch my breath. It's been a real blessing being here in the Hard Rock Cafe, so I want to just give a real special shout out. Thank you so much. The staff here are so amazing, and I want to also thank the production crew that come loyally every taping, always on time. They always do everything. They execute everything perfectly, so I just want to thank you. And I want to thank the audience for coming. Thank you so much for being here and supporting the show. So we have a great show happening. And Randall, by the way, I have to give a big shout out to Randall Mitchell, who just hit me up a couple of weeks back, and he said, you know, I just want to come on the show and help you. Can I help you? I don't very often hear that. And I said, yeah, absolutely. And he's just come on full force and helped out on the team. So please give him MC with a real panache. Thank you so much for what you do. All right, so there's a lot going on in the show, and without further ado, let's start the Nikki Clarke show. Ready? Yeah. All right, so Randall is going to be giving you the cues for cheering, and it's going to be an awesome show. All right, Facebook like. Hit it. Back to the Nikki Clarke show. I am Nikki Clarke, and we are taping here live at the iconic location, the Hard Rock Cafe, 279 Yonge Street in the heart of downtown Toronto. And how is everybody feeling today? I love it. I love it. I love it. There's been a lot going on in the news. So before we start off, what time is it, everybody? Right, it's time for Hot Topics. So let's talk about, you know, what is on the tip of the tongue, what is the discussion at the water coolers, at work, and Michael Jackson. Any Michael Jackson fans out there? Show of hands. I am a big Michael Jackson fan. I fell in love with him when I first heard, you know, the Jackson 5 when I was a little girl, and diehard fan. Well, he's got another album coming out May 13th. And the album is called Escape. Apparently, he had a vault full of music that he didn't release before his death. And the CEO of Epic Records, L.A. Reid, went through the vaults and took out 8 of the music that had not been released and gave it to Timbaland to make it more contemporary of a sound. So that will be out May 13th. How many people are going to get an album? Oh, heck yeah. I'm going to be all over that. I don't know anybody, is anyone here a house music fan? Anybody listen to house music? Do you remember Frankie Knuckles? Yeah, well, he passed away. He passed away a couple of days ago at the age of 59. It's really young. Apparently from complications related to type 2 diabetes. I didn't know you could pass away from that, but I guess it must have been really serious. All right, so how many people here are Rob Ford fans? Yeah. One guy, okay. How about Olivia Chow? Wow, crickets. All right, well, Olivia Chow just went on her campaign a couple of days ago. She declared that she is running for the mayor of Toronto, and she's not a fan of Rob Ford. She claims that he's no role model to her children or to anyone in Toronto. And in his reply to that, he said, well, they didn't hire me to be perfect. Well, no kidding. No kidding. All right. So the Junos just passed. It was just this past Sunday. Anyone watch the Junos? Nobody? Wow. Okay. Well, the Junos were in Winnipeg. And apparently Justin Bieber got an award for fan favorite, and he was booed. Can you believe that? Well, actually, I can. You know, lately he's been kind of off the wall from his behavior, according to the media. But there are a lot of no-shows. There's a huge absence of talent there. Big winners who didn't come to claim their awards. Justin Bieber was one of them. Drake, Arcade Fire, Michael Bublé, and apparently Robin Thicke was supposed to perform, and he canceled at the last minute, and he said apparently there were some problems with his vocal cords, so he did not show up. So I'm thinking, did they cancel because it was in Winnipeg, or because it was the Junos?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that one out. So last week, I did an impersonation. I was impersonating Kris Kardashian. And I let people know that I have a little bit of a background in radio comedy. I do voices. Not hear voices, but I do voices.
Yeah.
So I was dared this week to do a British accent. And I thought, who could I do a British accent of? I thought of Madonna. And then I said, no, how about the Queen of England? All right, so could I share that with you? I've been practicing all day. The Queen of England, the British accent. I'm going to need a sip of water. All right, you heard it here first. Right, so this is the Queen. I'm going to get into character right now. Hello, I'm your Queen. I am going to share something that I say to my husband before we retire to our chambers every night. I will begin. We be all night, and everything all right. No complaints from my body, so fluorescent under the lights. Boy, I'm drinking. Pocket in my lot, 7-Eleven. I'm rubbing on it, rubbing. If you scared, call that reverend. Boy, I'm drinking. Get my brain right. Armand de Brignac, gangster wife. Louis Sheets, he sweat it out like wash rags. He wear it out. We be all night. Love, love. We be all night. Love, love. Thank you. Music Week is just around the corner. Canadian Music Week. It is going to be happening, I believe, March 4th to the 10th. And the great thing about it is that we're involved. The Nikki Clarke Show Urban Showcase is happening for the second time, May 7th. And it's going to be at the Café Social, 1345. So there's an amazing lineup of artists from the genre of reggae, rap. We've also got house, dance, energy, and gospel. So some of the featured performances: Aeon, Andrea Godin, Chris Monaco, Knowledge Gonzalez. I'm also going to perform. Jennifer Cortez, Alicia Cinnamon, Penelope, and Ricky Jarman. So you don't want to miss that. How about a big clap for Canadian music, representing the urban sound. All right, we've got a great show for you tonight, so you don't want to go anywhere. We are going to have the amazing Melyssa Moniz, passion expert. She's going to be chatting with me. Yeah, give it up for her. And then Astro Coach Alina Trollis is going to be here chatting with me. And then we have Marc Lebert, and I'm saying it the French way because I'm from Montreal, and Dr. Jeff Matheson. They're going to be here from Pure Form Omega. Radio personality, Lizy Tri is here to chat with us. And we also have the author of The Lemonade Stand Millionaire, Gail Haynes, here on the Nikki Clarke Show. You don't want to go anywhere. We'll be right back. We are back, and we have the lovely Astro Coach Ilana Trolls. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Nikki, for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. And I'm glad that we are twinsies in a way. We're in a bright idea frame of mind. I just thought I'd bring a little summer, and you had the same idea. That's good.
Me too, yes.
Yeah.
I try to step out of always wearing black.
Yeah, well, you look absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, I know you very well, and there's so much that we have in common, but one of the things that I'm still trying to understand and tap into my own intuition. Now, you say you're a natural intuitive. What is that exactly?
Well, a natural intuitive, well, it depends, everybody has their own definition. For me, the intuition is an ability to tap into our core of our inner being and just connect to it and let us guide us and, just go with the flow when it comes to our feelings and emotions. But mostly comes from, I think, from the place of soul,
Okay. So do you think everyone has a natural ability to be intuitive?
Absolutely.
But some people are more sensitive to it and they have developed it more, and then others are still working on it or maybe not aware?
Well, I think nowadays everyone is actually aware of their intuition because everything is so out in the open. We live in a time of a huge global spiritual awakening.
I agree.
Therefore, everyone that I know personally and I come across, they all have like a uncanny intuition.
Okay.
Absolutely.
There's sometimes I think about a phone call and then the phone rings. Does that ever happen to anybody? Yeah. So I guess that's intuition.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. Or let's say you go in for a date and you feel like that this is a total kind of waste of your precious time. Yes, usually it is.
Yeah, so never second guess your gut feelings.
Well, in my case, no, it really serves me well. And, people that I come across, they really agree with that too.
Okay.
Women especially, but I have to say men as well. They're like not accustomed, no strangers to intuition. They're actually very good at that.
They're very good at it. Yeah. So you're an astrologer.
Yes.
And you have developed something called the Astro Coach. Can you talk about what the Astro Coach is?
Okay, Astro Coach, as I'm a professional astrologer, and I don't know, the type of people that I attract is usually more than just predictions and knowing about their signs, about their partners. They want to kind of know more, or sometimes they have a certain challenges that they're dealing with. Mm-hmm. And this is where my kind of expertise steps in and helps them, guide them.
Yes.
I always guard myself. I spiritually guide people because you have to be careful. I'm not a therapist, so certain, you have to have a boundaries. But definitely spiritual guidance. And why people come to me because they're stuck or they're feeling stuck and they need an extra boost or reassurance, or just something simpler, a reading, or where I help them to really tap into their own potential.
Okay, so walk me through it. If I'm visiting you for the first time as an Astro Coach, how would we go about, getting me unstuck? Okay, well, my sessions are usually hour and a half, so I call it in-depth readings. Okay. So basically, it's based on your date of birth, time of birth, and location of your birth. Everyone is different. Some people, they need a tarot cards to channel, angel cards, or all kind of different, systems of predictions. Right. I channel my guidance through intuition and through astrological signs. So basically, when I see person, just by reading their contract, we call it the blueprint of a soul, the birth chart, because it's actually the moment of your birth shows pretty much qualities of who you are, where you're kind of heading in your life. Again, it's not conclusive because people do have a right to make up their own mind, and this is very important in every reading to be revealed to a client, whether you're psychic, intuitive, anything, Okay. They have to be aware of it. But anyway, basically, they're very open. They have to be open to it. They have to, be willing to work with, and then it's simple. I don't know. For me, it's easy. You're a natural. Maybe that's it. Is there a consistency with the description of the signs? So if you're a typical Virgo, you're this, or if you're a typical Taurus, you're this. There's pretty much consistency, you say? Well, there is consistency for sure. I always say to clients, because they always ask me the same question, but you know what, we're reading in horoscopes, in monthly horoscopes, daily, whatever. Well, every 12th person in the world is one of the zodiac signs. So certain characteristics, like for instance, Taurus, people born in sign of Taurus, they all kind of have those similar traits, hardworking, very grounded,
very sensual, they love cooking, they love, they like very like sensual pleasures, and they're very grounded. So they all kind of have those similarities, but again, all depends on a time of birth and location, because depends which time zone you were born. I mean, this could change. Planets in heaven, they kind of change rather quickly, some of them, so it's totally different for everyone.
It's a little bit different for
Yes.
everyone. Okay. So my birthday is December 20th. What type of woman am I? I don't mind revealing it.
Okay. Well, you're Sag. So, so this is, not to go too deep into your chart, but as a Sag woman, first of all, you're very outgoing, very passionate. I'm Sag too, and I can relate, and lots of my friends are fire signs. When it comes to fire signs, which is Sag, Leo, and Aries, passion is everything. You're type of person, if you love something, you will pursue it, but if you don't, it will just phase out. Some people call it scattering, giving up. I'm just calling lack of passion, that's it. Simple as that.
Move on to the next thing. And what are some of your projects that are coming up?
Well, I'm very proud of doing a lot. I have a lot of involvement with the charities and fundraisers, where usually I go and I do readings for people, and we charge them for mini readings, and I donate the proceeds to the charity or to the event. So I've done quite a few, and the offer's been coming a lot. Actually, I have some few really big events coming end of this year for the huge South Asian charity group. Going to be a huge campaign on TV. I'm going to be face of their charity, so I'm very proud.
Oh, congratulations.
And also, I sometimes, depends what it is. If it's the good cause, I'm in. As long as it's legitimate event, I always offer my services for free.
As long as it's a good fit.
Just giving back a little bit, because I believe in that, and this is, my motto, always paying forward, and that's my main campaign. Everybody that knows me, they know that I'm all about that.
How would you advise someone to stay spiritual or spiritually grounded in the world that we live in right now?
Okay, that's a really tricky question, because this is the hardest thing. Unless you're totally a yogi kind of lifestyle and you really have nothing else to do other than meditating, it's actually science fiction. So in layman's terms, just a simple, straightforward, the best way for us busy people here in Toronto and anywhere in the world to do it is to find at least 10 to 15 minutes during the daytime and just simply sit down and just don't think about anything.
I do that in my bathroom.
Presence. Well, absolutely. That's very important, because, we all need to be, connect to a soul chakra, to a heart chakra.
Right.
So as long as we visualize beautiful white light running through our veins and back and forth, I think that's just the simplest, easiest way. Of course, if you have a more, advanced approach and you can meditate, do yoga and some other, that would be even better.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for your pearls of wisdom. And where can people find you?
Okay, they can find me on astrocoach.ca, and on Facebook is Astrocoach for you. And can I just make a mention about one little thing?
Absolutely.
Next week, I will be part of the event in Yorkville, the place called Artemis. And it's
Beautiful
at
place.
84 Scholar Street. Yes, so please, you're welcome to come. It's a beautiful jewelry store where I'm going to be talking about power of crystals and how to utilize them. And actually, when you buy a piece of jewelry like I'm wearing,
it's
from my
gorgeous.
favorite designer from the store, at least you can connect with its energy and harvest it. So it's not only a piece of jewelry, it's more to it. Yeah. So basically, you're welcome to come. Starts at 6:30 next Thursday at 6:30, 84 Scholar.
I love to be there, and I know
Please.
that
You're getting free reading if you come.
I'm down.
I'm doing readings and stuff, so.
I have a question about a Virgo in my life.
Please. Virgo, that's my rising sun.
Yeah, awesome. It's always a pleasure, Alina. Thank you so much, and we'll talk some more.
Thank you for having me, yes.
All right, we'll be right back.
Let me.
We are back with very special guest, Gail Haynes. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Awesome. Now, you've got so much that I want to ask you. And I understand that you started a lemonade stand when you were 7 years old.
I did.
And at 16, You started another business. What was that?
A horseback riding facility.
Horseback riding facility.
Yes.
That's a huge venture for a 16-year-old.
It really is. I got my first horse when I was 12 years old as a birthday present.
Wow.
Found out she was pregnant, and then went from there and basically helped put together a business proposal. Went to present it to my parents as a test run before going for my loan, and my parents said that they would lend me the money to get started.
Okay.
So
That's not typical of a lot of 7 or 16-year-olds to start 2 businesses like that.
no.
What is it that you had as a child that you recognize now? What were some of the qualities you had to start those businesses?
I think sheer determination is definitely one of them. I had 2 really fantastic role models. My parents are both entrepreneurs.
Okay.
So you see, my mom was able to be with us at home and raise us and take us out during the week and do different things that a lot of parents that work 9 to 5 are just not able to do. And so I saw that work ethic and just, wanted to do something I really loved to do, and horses was absolutely one of those things.
What did you learn when you started your business?
I think, one of the things is that it's not something that you click your heels together and all of a sudden you have a booming business, that you really have to work at it. You
Absolutely.
have to build it. You have to make mistakes and learn from those and build on from there as well.
Yeah, like I tell people, there's no such thing as an overnight success.
There really isn't.
People don't see the blood, sweat, and tears. It may take, 5, 18 years before the success manifests. So
Absolutely.
it's really about determination, like you said. Now, I know that you had some struggles
I did.
financially when you found yourself as a single mother of 2.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about that moment and when you realized, I have to take stock of my life and change my financial situation?
Sure. I had, for many, many years, I had been making very good money and everything was doing great, and I had a really great skill of spending.
Yeah.
But what happened was that I didn't always take stock of what was needed to take care of all of the other expenses, the unexpected things, and becoming a single parent was probably one of the most unexpected things. And when that happened, I was struggling before, but then realized, we ended up in February with no heat, no electricity, raising 2 young children, thinking, what have I done? And
How
really
old were your
kicking
children
myself.
at the time?
They were 2 and 4.
Okay, very young.
So, and they didn't realize why we had candles on all the time, and so it
We're
was
camping.
yeah, pretty much. And so it was one of those things where I thought, I do not want my kids to ever go through this experience. And the only way that I could see changing that is looking at what I had done, my situation, learning whatever it took, and then applying that and helping my children to have an understanding about money, so that they wouldn't make those mistakes.
Financial knowledge or responsibility is really handed down from your parents, right?
Very much so. Between parents and between media and between the kids that are talking at school, the movies that we're watching, all of those different things are such huge influences on us.
And when this was happening and you made that reckoning that you want to make a change, what did you end up teaching your children?
One of the things that I taught both of my girls is that money has more than one role, and spending is one of them, saving is another, and being able to understand that their money can work for them. So having an understanding of investing, and when they're little, you have to do it in a way that they start to understand how that money's going to grow and what it's going to become for them. But I think giving them a respect for money and empowering them to learn how to create their own money, whether that be household chores or starting a little business or that type of thing.
Yeah, money doesn't grow on trees.
Exactly.
That's what my mother would tell me. And we would, work for our little side money.
Mm-hmm.
But you have your 18-year-old here.
She
by the way.
is here. Yep.
Yes, nice to have her. What are some of the things that you taught them? Some simple things for young children to understand to respect money.
Well, what we did around the house is we actually came up with a chore system. And what I say we came up with, we literally sat down, the 3 of us, and figured out what were the things they could do at that age and what would that be worth every week. And so they literally, worked had a paycheck coming in. And so that was one of the things, and learning responsibility for earning that money, but also when they wanted to get something that was more expensive than what they had money for,
Right.
was giving them the language to not say we can't afford it, but giving them the language to say, what can I do to help find that money, create that money to be able to get that item, and so that they could do some extra chores, or they actually had their own Kool-Aid stand when they were little, and at 7 and 9 they actually started their own business. So it was a pretty amazing, because they wanted to have a few more things and have more toys. At that time, that's what they were doing. And my 18-year-old is still running that business that she started.
The
when she was
Kool-Aid stand.
9 years old. No, that she actually runs a rabbitry. So she's been doing that for 9 years now.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very impressed to have that kind of discipline to stay in business for so long, from a very tender age. Of 9 is when she started.
She started at 9.
Started
Yes.
at 9. There's a lot that we can learn from you, and you very courageously put this book together, The Lemonade Stand Millionaire. What is the book about, basically?
The book is a parent's guide to help. Let me look at it this way. Most of us have not been given an education in finances, how to teach our children about money.
Okay.
And most of what for myself at least, I was a spender and didn't have a balanced way of looking at money. So this helps to look at the language of money, kind of a little bit about how we put ourselves in different financial situations, but then it starts to teach how do we give our kids the skills that they need to start understanding money? How do we start giving them money for the first time? How do we help them learn how to spend it, how to save it? And one of the most important things is how to give it. So how to learn how to look outside of themselves and what they can do to help their community, the world, whatever it is that's important to them.
Absolutely. When children learn that there is a value attached to what they get, there is an abandoning of this idea that they're entitled to certain things,
Right.
and they have more respect for themselves and for the people around them. That's how I've been kind of adapting. I have children too, and as a single mother, those are some of the things that I had to implement in my home, and we had to understand, we could only do so much, when, and how to spend and all that. So I completely understand what you're sharing in your book.
Thank you.
And how long has the book been out now? It's been
About a year.
It's been a year.
Yes.
And what's the reaction?
We've had great reaction. And it's interesting because there's parents that are reading the book, but I'm also getting a lot of youth that are reading the book and that are just taking the steps upon themselves and creating their own jars to put their money in and separate their money and starting small businesses and that type of thing. So it's been a very rewarding and exciting year.
Would you say that entrepreneurs are born?
I think that there are a certain amount of entrepreneurship that is in a person that is, but I think that if you would want to have a business, there are skills that can be learned.
Okay.
But
Can be nurtured from the environment.
absolutely. But not everyone is born to be an entrepreneur. But I think it's always good to give our kids the opportunity to try it, test it out, see if they like it, because the skills that they learn with entrepreneurship will roll into life as a job.
They're life skills.
Absolutely.
So what's next for you?
Well, right now I'm starting to do some teaching with courses. So I have a program coming up at the end of this month called Turning Lemons into Millions.
I like
and
that.
It's helping adults to look at their finances in a different way and to create the world that they want. Also a lot of online things that are happening. So speaking engagements and just getting out there and helping kids and parents to get this information so that we can, I'd love to change the global economy. I think that if we can start teaching our kids at a young age about money and understanding it, that can make an absolutely massive impact in the world.
Well, I agree with you. And you've got a wealth of information to share. And where can people find you?
They can find me at thelemonadestandmillionaire.com or on Facebook at The Lemonade Stand Millionaire, and they can find the book there and lots of other helpful hints.
And this is my copy.
This is your copy.
Yay! And I think you signed it for me.
I did.
Wonderful. Gail, it's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this. Lemonade Stand Millionaire. We'll be right back. and Dr. Jeff Matherson of Pure Form Omega. Thank you so much for joining us here on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, you're welcome, you're welcome. I'm really excited to know more about Pure Form Omega. Who started it, by the way? Who started the company?
Well, we kind of got together. I met Dr. Jeff through my business partner in a fitness company. His name's John, and he's just a great guy and just an old hockey player. And he really was suffering from some back pain. And Jeff, under his consultation, said, you know, you got to try this Pure Form Omega. It's amazing. And playing with John, I seen the improvements in his cardiovascular system on the ice. I'm like, guy, what are you doing? Like, you're playing so much better. It was up like 30%. And he said, you know, I love this stuff. You got to try it yourself. And then hooked me up with Jeff as well. And we just said, we have to do this.
And then the rest is history.
Yeah.
Basically,
Okay. Walk me through a little bit of the properties of Pure Omega. I know we need it for the body, and sometimes we don't always absorb it in food. How does it help the body? By the way?
There are essentially two fatty acids that we have to get from our food supply. One is omega-3 and one is omega-6.
Okay.
Now, the omega-3 and omega-6 actually are families of fatty acids, so not to get too complicated. But right now, as you probably see on TV a lot of them are from fish sources.
Right, like
Fish
salmon
and
oil or
that's correct.
cod liver.
The problem with fish sources is that they live at 0 degrees centigrade almost all year round, and they actually have 20 carbon fatty acids in them.
Okay.
And the human body actually operates optimally on 18 carbon fatty acids, which are developed from vegetable sources.
Right.
So when I discovered that this was the case and discovered the supplement and started learning about the biochemistry behind it, what essentially happens is that these 18 carbon fatty acids actually make our cell membranes work much more efficiently.
Okay.
And that's why John found such a great improvement in his cardiovascular fitness and started outskating all the 30-year-old members of his hockey team, even though he's nearly 60.
Are you kidding?
Yes.
That is amazing.
And he had also tremendous changes in his skin and a lot of other things that go along with having high-quality fatty acids in your diet.
Fantastic. So how long has the company been around now?
The company was incorporated probably, 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So it's very young.
Yeah.
So the website only really goes live today, in fact.
All
Yeah,
right. Well,
so
I am honored to be part of that evolution in the step of Pure Form Omega. And let's talk about the state of health right now in Ontario.
Well,
What do you see happening? What are the trends in health? And how can Pure Form Omega help to
so
change and what's going on?
today in Canada and in the U.S., the U.S. is actually further ahead down this road. We see a lot of chronic disease. We have an epidemic of diabetes that is sweeping over us. Okay.
Is it type 2, the preventable one?
Type
Okay.
2 diabetes.
Okay.
And that's all strictly due to diet and intake. And one of the big problems we have in our society right now is we have a huge amount of carbohydrates being consumed, and we have adulterated fatty acids being consumed, which is something we don't talk about very much. But if you look at all the vegetable oils currently on the market today, they're all processed under heated conditions, which actually destroys the property of the oil.
Okay.
And that is contributing towards the increased rates of heart disease and cancer in our society.
Right.
So the Pure Form Omega is different because it's cold pressed under a nitrogen blanket, and there's actually nitrogen bubble in each one of the capsules to prevent oxidation. So it's like consuming the raw product itself.
That's fantastic. Can you tell me of people who have, by the way, how do you ingest that? Is it
It's capsules.
Okay, so it's
They're
capsules.
capsules.
Okay.
Yes,
So
they're-
how would you take it on a daily basis?
It's based on weight.
Okay.
The capsules are fairly easy to swallow. They're there, right there, and you can see the bubble inside them.
I do see the bubble.
There you go.
Okay. And that's oxygen.
That's nitrogen.
Nitrogen.
Yeah, oxygen destroys the oil, so you want it. So it's nitrogen. You want to keep it
Nitrogen,
unoxidized.
So just with your
That's
OJ
right.
and you're good to go.
That's correct.
on a
And,
day.
and the instructions are on the bottle, but it's one capsule per 40 pounds of body weight in divided doses.
That's
So
more for me.
And then you take 20 minutes before your workout.
Okay.
And what you'll find in athletes especially is because they have better oxygen transportation across cell membranes, you don't get the lactic acid buildup, which means after you work out, you don't get any soreness.
Oh,
And that's what I've put several bodybuilders on it, and they've all said it's the best thing because when bodybuilders work out, they usually can't move the next day.
They go hard, right?
And they get hard, and this prevents that from happening.
That's amazing. Isn't that amazing? Now, speaking of bodybuilders, we have someone here who is a living testament
Yes,
to...
you want to come on?
Can you come on up? I know this is totally unexpected. We put you on the spot. She's absolutely gorgeous, and she is, look how beautiful she is.
There you go.
And she's fit. Look at that. So, how long has Marlene been using
I believe, Marlene, I've got you on it for about 4 months, 4 or 5 months now. Yeah, so she was one of the early people I got on it when we first going down this road. And one of the big changes with Marlene was that her workouts became much more effective. She leaned out much better. She had no carbohydrate cravings.
Really?
And I don't know if you notice her skin. When
No cookies, cravings, nothing.
Exactly. So Marlene had a lot of sun damage to her forehead from sun, and it's almost all gone. And that's only based on
Your skin looks
supplements.
flawless just by looking at it. I'm not just saying that. I mean, beautiful.
No, I've been also using less makeup and
Less makeup.
less makeup,
Yeah.
less foundation.
You hear that, ladies?
Yeah. And her hair grows faster and everything as well.
Right. And Marlene is living proof right here. But anyone else who's maybe going through a major health situation that you've helped
Well,
restore them?
yeah, it's interesting. So I have a patient who actually was involved in a fairly significant car accident about 10 months ago. And
Thank you, Marlene.
Thanks, Marlene. So she was, now I'm using this with her permission, of course, but it's a patient. So she saw me, she had been taking a fish oil supplement on advice of a nutritionist because the brain is 70% fat. But she still had problems with depression and slurred speech from the brain injury. Mm-hmm. So I gave her a bottle of the Pure Form Omega, and within 3 weeks her slurred speech had gone away and her depression had lifted.
Wow.
She ran out of the product, and in 3 days all the symptoms came back. I gave her 4 capsules because I just happened to have them on me and brought her back the next day for another bottle. And with only the 4 capsules, her symptoms lifted again.
That is amazing. That really is.
I really have not seen anything as powerful as this.
This is transformational.
Yeah.
Really. Marc, how do you use it?
Well, being an athlete and a trainer, we kind of thought, fish oil is the way to go. That's what we read for years. And then, meeting Jeff and talking to the guy who developed this, he's an MIT trained researcher. He's not even a doctor. He's interested in finding out the truth through all his research.
Right.
So I noticed, for me personally, I use it obviously every day before I work out. And the same thing happened when I was out of product. My joints started hurting
Started to
again.
feel it.
My energy levels went down a bit. I actually eat a little bit less on this too, which is nice. It's a little bit of an appetite suppressant because I'm getting the healthy oils and the fats that I need. So like Jeff said, the food oil industry basically wrecked oils. And this is just a good way to get healthy, plant-based omegas back in my diet. For me, it's a great supplement.
Okay. So I have nerve damage, in my neck. I was hit by a motorcycle a few years ago, and every now and then it gets a little bit uncomfortable. So if I were to use this on a regular basis, I would notice.
You first thing people notice, skin is the biggest thing people notice first because that's the fastest turnover. Hair gets really nice. Hair grows faster. It gets much more illustrious looking. Nails grow faster. Women, my biggest complaint from women is they have to go to the nail salon every 3 weeks because their nails are growing so fast. But for other injuries like that, it's not been tried in that. I can't guarantee you'll get results like that because you've got to be very careful making health claims with natural supplements. But it should keep the inflammatory levels down because it makes your cells work more efficiently, so there's not as much reason to have an inflammatory reaction.
Right.
So you it shouldn't act up as much in theory.
In theory, okay. And where can people
So
get the product?
it's available on the website right now. We haven't done any retail marketing in the product as of yet, but that will come. Because it's just too early, and I'm thinking that we're going to get an avalanche, and we have to control it.
I predict that.
Yeah.
I'm an intuitive too. And what is the website?
It's www.pureformomega.com, If you take off the egg apart, it says Pure for Mom. So there you go.
And what does that retail?
It will retail for $49.95, and that's in US dollars right now because that's where it's from. But initially, it's going to be discounted pretty heavily for anybody who's an early adopter. So.
And the good news is everyone is getting a discount today.
$25 off.
$25 off.
There you go.
So that's incredible. So it's like
Half price.
half price today because you're on the Nikki Clarke show.
There you
So
go.
we're going to give you the promo code for that. That is amazing. Anything else going on? Future projects?
Oh, yes. Well, we've done a couple of trade shows. We're going to lecture on it in Germany to introduce it into Europe. I just want to get it into hands of people because we're collecting testimonials that we can post on our website because we want positive feedback. We want all feedback from the product because the word of mouth is going to be the best way to market this.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. Well, it's been a pleasure. And I can't wait to start this.
Thank
and
you.
then I can send you my testimonial in a
Exactly.
couple of weeks. So Marc, Dr. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us here. And so happy to have Pure Form Omega in our midst. We'll be right back.
All right, welcome back. We have the beautiful motivational leader, Melyssa Moniz here. Looking pretty in pink. How are you tonight?
Thank you. I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Yeah, you look awesome too. We got the spring colors going. I think we're bringing the sunshine, aren't we?
We're trying real hard. Trying real hard. You know, you are a passion expert.
Thank you.
And what is a passion expert?
Passion expert. We're launching right in. You know what I want to do first is actually define passion for you
I like
as I see it. So people usually say, oh, I'm passionate about ... and then they name a thing. What I say about passion is that passion is actually the energy form that's coming from you when you're being your most authentic self.
Okay.
And furthermore, most of us don't even realize it, but the authentic part of us that's vibrating is love. So yeah, a passion expert is somebody who understands that on a deep, deep level and pretty much shares it, teaches it, represents it, embodies it. And it's been a beautiful journey. And I'm still growing. I'm still learning. I'm still moving forward on that. So that's what a passion expert is.
Wow, I like that definition.
Thank you.
And you are an author of 3 books. One
Indeed.
of them right here, Live Your Passion.
Woo!
And I'm excited to read this. So key questions to help you identify and create your success. Can you talk about putting this book together?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, as a mentor right now to entrepreneurs and transitioning entrepreneurs, it's all about really how are you thinking of things? What's your mindset? What are you talking to yourself about every single day? And what I've noticed is that life is just one big conversation with you and yourself and one big relationship with you and how you relate to others in the world. So depending on the questions that you have going on towards yourself, that's going to render the kind of results that you have in your life and in your business. So if you ask yourself better and better questions, you're going to render better and better answers. And this book was all about really the questions that got me to where I was up until my 10-year entrepreneur mark for myself. And I believe success is someone's birthright, anyone's birthright. So a successful person is someone who's doing the things that they said they're going to do, but maybe they're blocked. Maybe there's something standing in the way for them.
Or they're asking the wrong questions.
So they're asking the wrong questions, right? Like, for example, if you truly wanted to be a millionaire, but you're asking yourself, oh, how am I going to just pay the bills by the end of this month? Or, oh, how am I going to get through this day? I mean, those are disempowering questions that ultimately make you feel super, super low. Rather, if you started asking, well, what about, where's the love in this scenario? Mm-hmm. What is my passion? Who can I ask to help me? Or for example, what rules am I living by? Did I just sign up for someone else's rules? Or am I living by my rules? What's my personal philosophy? And so I broke it down to all the questions that ultimately led me to where I am today, because I do believe in when you find something amazing for yourself, share it. It multiplies not only for you, but it'll go out and it'll help tons and tons of people. Some people that I have even messaging me now saying, I don't even know who you are, but your book helped me in my life. So that's how the book came about. It was number one, an intention to share, And number two, to break down the questions that can change the game for you.
So what were your questions, Melyssa? Can you maybe one
Other
or
than
two?
the ones in there, yeah. It's like, Nikki, we're gonna break it down. We're gonna have a convo all about the key questions. But no, you know what? The biggest game-changing question for me was, and I know this is gonna sound perhaps a little deep, but is it?
Can I get deep enough?
Can we do it? Can we do it on the
Let's-
show?
let's
Get a little
go.
deep.
Let's
Okay.
go.
All right, let's go. Well, you know, quite honestly, many years ago, I was kind of this old soul trapped in a young body, and so I questioned myself a lot, thinking like, am I normal? Am I weird? I don't understand. Why does everyone talk about Barbie and Ken and like cartoons, and I'm talking about what's the meaning of life? So I felt a little bit ostracized growing up, and I felt like I was weird. And there came a point in my life where I actually questioned life or death. And I know that sounds, like I said, I don't want to get too heavy, but the truth is it was the ultimate question of, do I really want to live or not? And I contemplated that for a good 5 years when I was growing up. And anyways,
Because you felt ostracized?
I
You didn't
did,
feel like you
yeah.
connected with anyone?
Totally felt weird. I was like, am I a weirdo? Is this, like, I don't connect with anybody. But at the end of the day, what I realized is it wasn't that I wasn't connecting with anybody, I just wasn't connecting with myself. I wasn't being my authentic self. I wasn't telling my truth, speaking my truth. And I wasn't really letting anyone in either, because one of the things that I was saying over and over in my head was just that. Nobody gets me, nobody likes me, nobody understands what I'm going through. And that actually wasn't true. Because through conversations and through key questions, I actually also found out that everybody goes through it. Everybody questions life. Everybody wants to know what's their purpose, what are they here for, what do they love? Everyone goes through it. It's just I wasn't asking the right questions, and I wasn't opening myself up to let people into my life as well. You know what? But the game-changing question was, do I really want to live or not? And if I'm going to live, am I going to live the mundane life? Am I going to live an average life? Or am I just going to go for it? Am I going to go for my dreams? Like the stuff that's inside of me, am I just going to go for it? And then when I made the decision, which was an absolute yes, let's do this, I just kept on making that decision. Yes, this is what I want.
Everything
yes.
shifted.
And everything shifted. So, you change something for yourself within yourself, and the amazing thing is that everything aligns itself around you, and you end up becoming an inspiration, you end up becoming influential, and that wasn't the intention actually. My intention wasn't to become who I am today, but just rather live my passion, right? Live in the energy
To
of my
align with
most,
yourself.
absolutely. And it turns out that there are many people who want and need that and crave that. And so it's been an absolute journey and a ride of really just ultimately sharing it. And hence why we're here today.
You are a mentor to so many people.
Yes.
How do people approach you to be a mentor? What are some of the steps?
Well, that's a great question. Do you mean in terms of how do they find me, or how do they approach me?
Well, when they find you, how do you go through the assessment of mentoring them?
Absolutely.
And maybe if you can share an example of transforming someone's life through your mentoring.
Absolutely. Well, the first things first, anybody can change, anybody can succeed, anybody can do whatever it is that they want to do. But the number one component that separates a successful person to a not successful person, I don't really believe in failure unless you die before you accomplish everything you want to do. But the difference is somebody who's ready, committed, and willing. And so through a discovery session, I will have a conversation with somebody to discover within them, are you truly ready? Do you want to move forward? Do you have that yearning inside that is much greater than your personal fears? Right. And if those are all yeses, then I start to also establish whether or not our connection, like our actual relationship as in my mentorship and their menteeism, if we actually have a real connection, an authentic connection, then we can move forward. But
if you're not feeling them,
yeah, exactly.
That's it?
Exactly.
You can't move forward.
You can't. No, because then you're going to be constantly met with resistance. And I'm not the only mentor in the world. I'm readily available to refer some great people in the industry as well. But yes, they need to be absolutely ready. And number two, we need to have an authentic connection. Because I also actually have many clients right now that I absolutely love and adore. I tell them right up front, I'm like, this is going to be a loving relationship. I'm your mentor, but like there's love here, and if you're not ready for that, then we can't move forward either.
And in love, you truthfully tell them what's up.
Exactly. And when they're ready to hear it, it's like there are always these light bulbs that come up. So I utilize my last 10 years of entrepreneurial experience myself. I use my successes, I use my failures, I use a lot of tools and past resources that I've invested in myself. Like I've invested over $200,000 in my own development, and I'm readily available to pass that on. But in addition to that, you know, I've awakened quite a bit to my own spirituality, and so my intuition is quite strong. And I can call it. I can call people out on their BS. I can call people out when they're not being truthful, because I can recognize it. And they love that. They love it, because then you can
They
just
like the
do.
challenge.
They do, right? And anyhow, there's some wonderful entrepreneurs that I'm working with right now. There's Mandy Mullen, who's the founder of Experience Nature Retreats. I'm also working with Jennifer Barro. She's Toronto's healing mentor. I've helped brand her as well. Natalia Solar, she's also Toronto's radiant specialist. We've got some amazing people, and I've also worked closely with different corporations and their employees.
Very impressive, by the way.
Thank you. Cadillac Fairview, you know, Toronto. Ryerson was actually a client of mine a couple years ago, and it's really fun. It's really, really fun. Again, you know, different facades, but like I said, at the end of the day, when you get deep with people, you realize like we're all yearning for the same thing.
And what's
And
that?
it's love, baby.
It's love.
It's love.
That's the bottom line.
It's the bottom line. They want to be loved. They want to give love. They want to know what it feels like to, you know, when you say, I want to work in my passions. What they're really saying is, I want to live my life doing things that I love, being with people that I love, expressing things that I love. So what's the common denominator?
And being loved.
Right?
Yeah, being loved
Absolutely.
for what they do.
Absolutely.
I wanted to talk about, because you know, we're a very success-driven society, but success can be measured in many different ways.
Absolutely.
It's not about financial gain. What are some other areas of success?
Other than financial gain, which yes, that's the exchange tool that we use, relationships, right? The level of connection that you have with relationships, people that you love, and how much are you opening up to you and yours. There's that level of success. There's also physical fitness and personal wellness. This is huge, right? How are you feeling every day? How are you showing up every day? You know, are you getting sick on the regular every Friday? Suddenly you're sick, and then your weekends are surrounded in just sickness. No, are you vibrant? Are you energetic? Are you living in that wonderful, abundant energy of really enjoying your body? Do you look in the mirror and say, wow, I love what I see? And that relationship with yourself is another measurement of success. You know, so, and we also, I mean, when it comes to straight up business too, we love to look at the impact, right? What kind of impact are we making?
At the end of the day, you want to say, am I making a difference?
Am I making a difference, right? Exactly. Which, by the way, you are absolutely making a difference. I'm loving your evolution. I'm loving everything. We've known each other now for the last few years, so just big little props to you.
Thank you. And you too.
Thank you.
I've been a big fan of what you're doing.
Thank you.
What can you advise to someone who's going through a challenge right now and they're a little bit hesitant to approach someone? Sometimes it's hard to get out of where you are, and I think we're socialized sometimes not to share.
Right.
They're at that point where they know they need to be unstuck, but they don't know how to get to a mentor. What can they do internally to kind of release themselves?
That's a beautiful question. Beautiful question. Number one is first know, understand, and really accept that you're truly not alone. And that's something that I wish someone had told me when I was growing up.
And me.
Hey,
I've been through it too. Yeah.
Absolutely, right? Like you need to know that you're not alone, but the internal shift is just willingness, right? You can identify and say, you know what? Yeah, I'm stuck. Yeah, I'm going through hell and back, right? I'm not well. But the beautiful thing is if you just say, acknowledge it within yourself that things are not well, and remove that judgment, remove the judgment on yourself saying that somehow this is wrong or bad, or you can't ask for help, or there's no one that's going to be there to help you, or you can't move on. Remove that judgment and actually just be willing enough to say, you know what, I'm just going to take one step, just one step forward. I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to ask the next person that I know that I can love and trust, or maybe I don't even know them. Maybe I'm just doing a random Google search and just looking for, you know, personal help or personal advisory or business advisory, whatever that is. It's just that first step of acknowledging where you're at, remove the judgment, and then ask the question, who can help? Reach out. And, you know, that's the first step of many, but yeah, that's a beautiful question, you know, because it's true. You know, not a lot of people are willing to say, hey, I need help. Right? Yeah. Exactly. Hey, I need help. Yeah. You know, but like I say to myself, Melyssa, get over your ego. Get over yourself. Yeah. There's a million other people out there who can do this better than you, 10 times better. It's their passion to do this for you. Get over yourself. Move on and just say, I want help. I'll get it. And actually, since then, you know, now it's like you get your team behind you, you get partnerships, you get wonderful people who come to your aid, family people can come to you. It's just amazing. So, and the little truth of it actually is that we always think that, oh, we'll be a burden, or no one will understand me, or no one can help me, or like, who's gonna understand this? And the truth is that, like I said, we all go through those little silent internal struggles. We all go through it. So actually there's far more people who would understand versus who wouldn't.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's a fabulous question. Thank you for that.
And I think for my own evolution, I understood that the higher purpose of putting the show together was to create that connection for
Yes.
people who felt disconnected, because I was one of those disconnected. And what I like to do for the stories, the candid stories of people, is to make, to create that bridge,
Wow.
to create that relationship, even if it's just, you know, a YouTube click away or a channel away. At least there's a voice on the other side that says, you know, I'm not alone,
Absolutely.
or validate that they're not alone.
Absolutely. And that intention that you're putting out into this particular project is going to magnify and actually magnetize, I should say, not just magnify the intention, but it will magnetize the very people who need you, who need us, who need any of the leaders who have also been featured on the show. It will magnetize them together. You know, so what a strong intention. That's beautiful. You know what actually I want to add on is that curiosity. You know, anyone who is stuck, or anyone who is not even just stuck, right? Because it could go both ways. If you're wanting to grow or wanting to get unstuck, they're very two similar mindsets and two similar places in where you are. Be curious. You know, be curious enough to say, you know, maybe not. Let's go for it. Maybe not, but let's just try. You know what I mean? Let's explore a little. You know, so yeah.
Well, I thank you so much for your wonderful words of inspiration.
Thank you.
And I am looking forward to reading Live Your Passion. And where can people find you?
Absolutely. Well, they can find the book on Amazon or in Chapters Indigo all over. Online, you can find me MelyssaMoniz.com. I am on Twitter, I am on Instagram, I am on Facebook. I would love to connect with anybody who feels that they resonate with me. I'm always available on the weekends as well, because I like to reach out to the fan bases or audiences or even my current clients. I make myself available for them, because at the end of the day, it's all about the relationship.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Melissa, it's been a pleasure.
No, it's
Thank
my
you so
pleasure.
much. All right. We'll be right back.